First, we are going to talk about the Gantt chart to make the process of monitoring and keeping track of information for your project a lot easier. What is Gantt chart? A Gantt chart is a horizontal bar chart used in a project management to visually represent a project plan over time. It typically shows the timeline and status as well as who is responsible for each task in the project. It used for the full project schedule from start to finish. It shows how a project breaks down into tasks, how work is progressing in a project, and how tasks relate to and depend on each other. Next, how to build a Gantt chart for project management. So we have 6 steps. The first step is to identify your essential tasks. You need to make a list of what needs to be completed and how long you expect each task to take. Second step, you need to identify the relationship between the tasks. For example, you cannot post content on your website until the content is written. So these two tasks are related. It means that one needs to be completed before the other can begin. For step 3, you need to put all your tasks in order of timeline in your software or spreadsheet. Begin with your starting task and you need to end with the activity that completes the project. Everything else can fit in the middle based on relationship and your resources, ability, and etc. Step 4, you need to input any other relevant information you want to track. You can add notes, resources, and progress if the project is already underway. Step 5, you need to create chart. If you're using a project management software, it will automatically create a chart for you. But if you're using a spreadsheet, you will have to create and format a chart manually. And last step, you need to keep update and review Gantt chart. Once your chart is created, remember to update it as things change. It's important to review your chart at least once a week to reflect progress and other change to your project. This is the software to build a Gantt chart. You can use Microsoft Project, Gantt Pro, Smartsheet, Write, and Instagram.
So you have a new project starting and there are a lot of questions that need to be answered, like what tasks need to be done? Who is responsible for what? How long is this going to take and how can we track our progress? A Gantt chart is a great way to visually see your entire project from start to finish. Tasks are listed on the left and then scheduled on the right along with dependencies and assignments to a person or resource. Team Gantt makes it easy to plan, schedule, and execute your projects. Simply add your tasks to the list and drag them into the timeline for as long as they should take. Then assign the tasks to a person or resource. Add dependencies so that tasks are always done in the proper order, even if the timeline shifts. You can leave comments and upload documents to a project or task so that all of your project communication can be kept in one centralized place available to your whole team whenever they need it. You can filter tasks by person or resource, date, or task color. Filters are great for seeing just what's been assigned to you or what you currently have in progress or overdue. It's easy to update your progress as you work. Use the availability section to make sure no one is over or under scheduled. It's especially useful for determining if your team can take on any additional projects since it can show availability across all active projects in Team Gantt. Team Gantt makes it simple to plan your project, track your progress, and communicate with your team. We love it, and we think you will too.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Shazana binti Yahya from Group 2. Now I want to present one of the tools used in project management, which is the PERT chart or aka Program Evaluation and Review Technique. Next, what is PERT chart? PERT chart is typically drawn before a project begins. We use it to determine the minimum time necessary to complete a task. This chart will also help us understand the task dependencies and to map out project scope and avoid roadblocks during the process. Lastly, Perchat will keep the team informed of the tasks needed to do, the amount of budget needed, and any of the dependencies between the tasks. This is one of the example of Perchat, and we have here is the task and its dependencies. Okay, so a little bit about the terms in the Perchat. So dependencies is when the task is connected with another task. These tasks rely on each other and cannot be completed without the other. For example, dev testing cannot be started if page creation is not completed. Next is dependencies without resources, which is even if the two tasks is connected, it doesn't have a tangible task that needs to be completed. Dia macam berkait tu, macam tak kuat dengan dependencies ni tadi. And next is the task. The task is what we need to be completed for the nodes to be implemented. These are other uses of Perchat. First, Perchat is to simplify complex objects. Second, Perchat is used to clarify task dependencies. Third, it is used to aid collaboration between departments. And lastly, it is used to explore hypothetical scenarios. There are actually various online softwares that can be used to create a Perchat. Among those are Microsoft Excel, Edromax, Visual Paradigm Online, Adobe, and Microsoft Visio. Alright, now I will be showing you how to create a Perchat using Microsoft Excel. So first, we click on this insert ribbon and go to the text box and select the horizontal text box. We create one node, and inside the node we type in the task name. And then we can duplicate this node into how many we wanted. Here I have made a total of 7 tasks. The next step is to draw arrow between the tasks to represent their dependencies. So for this, we go to the insert ribbon and select the shapes and click on the arrow shape. And then we connect between the two tasks. Now that we have connected all the tasks together, the Perchat is done. We can always change the style of these nodes and the arrows in the format ribbon. And then we can also add more details to the nodes, such as the person responsible, the start date, and the estimated time to complete the task. That is all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sedina Afifah binti Abu Hassan, and I'm going to present about staff allocation. Basically, staff allocation made or create to allocate staff time. What is staff allocation? We make staff allocation to keep track number of hours staff should work on tasks and manage staff time, and manage team workloads, and help prediction become more accurate. If every staff allocate a task and they work at the same time, so the prediction made, like when this project is going to finish or when can the project move to the next stage, can be more accurate. Okay, how to allocate staff? First, to have to analyze team members and set the strategy. Next, plan while consider resource, time, and budget restriction. Lastly is allocate. To allocate, we need to consider team member experience and skills. Next slide. This are the software to allocate staff. The first one is Connect Teams. This free version of Connect Teams limited to 5 person per teams. And next is Monday.com. Free version of this have 40 days trial, and Resource Guru have 30-day free trial. And next one is Run, then Smartsheet, and lastly Savium. This screenshot taken from this Savium application, and we can see this is the stuff and this is the task, also the time allocate for each staff to do what task. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Adiba Shaida binti Muhammad Asbahan. So for the next tool, I will explaining about risk analysis. It is for analyzing the risk in project management. Introduction: Risk analysis. What is risk analysis? It is the process of identifying and analyzing potential issues that could have a negative impact on key business initiatives or projects is known as risk analysis. The procedure is done in order to assist companies in avoiding or reducing any risk. There is two types of risk analysis. One is quantitative risk analysis and two is qualitative risk analysis. Next slide, I will explaining the steps of risk analysis process. Step 1, by conduct a risk assessment survey. So by conducting a risk assessment survey, we getting input from the management, and it is a way to begin documenting specific risks or threats. So for the step 2, identify and analyze the risks. So once we analyze the risk analysis process should determine the likelihood that each risk will occur as well as the consequences linked to each risk and like how they might affect the objective of a project. Step 3, develop a risk management plan. So based on a risk analysis process we create, so which assets are available and which threats will probably affect negatively. The risk analysis should produce control recommendation that can be used to mitigate, transfer, accept or avoid the risk. So for the step 4, implement the risk management plan. It is to measure to remove or reduce the risk, starting by the highest or extremely high risk. You solve or at least mitigate each risk to so it's no longer a threat. So for the last step, step 5, monitor the risk. Next, a software to create risk analysis. There are 3 software that we can use to create risk analysis. First, Microsoft Excel. Second, Risk Management Studio. And third, a spiral plan. The image shown in the slide is one of an example of risk analysis. By looking at this risk analysis, we can visualizing and figuring out the overall level of risk. Other than that, in risk analysis, the information about likelihood can be used to determine the overall level of risk. So let's see here. We create this risk analysis table by putting likelihood on this side and probability on the other side. We put here from 1 to 5, or other than that we can put from low to high. Same goes to likelihood. So we, as you can see on this example, we put 5 to 1. That's all from me. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So I'm Hadif Amri bin Ruslan. So I will be continue about the next tool, which is the WBS, as we call as a work breakdown structure. So what is it actually? WBS is a hierarchy comprising for 4 levels, and it starts with the project goals that is broken down into objective, then output, and finally project activities and deliverable. And it is no temporal relationship. So these are the example of the software project, which is this is the example of the WBS that we can see here. The main project is the software project. So the task 1, so the level 1 is the system engineering, and also analysis, and followed by the design, and the last one is the testing. And under the testing, we have the architectural design, detail design, procedural design, algorithm design, user interface design, database design, test case design. And the next level, which is the the under the procedural design, we can define the operational signatures, define pre and or I'm sorry, define a pre or cost conditions, and determine work pattern is under user interface design, and followed by the design interface, and the last one is the design review. So these are the example of the WBS. Okay, so these are the other example that we can relate to, or we can apply to other things, which is here. We can relate of remaking the chair or make a chair, which is at the level one. We need a people, a tools, and also a resources. Under the people, we have a carpenter, and the second one of the two, we need a hammer, a saw, and also a drill. And about the resources, we need a wood, nails, and also the wood glue. So those are the example of the WBS.